Good Thursday morning, everybody. Sorry, forgot what day of the week it was, but it's that time of year where the days just kind of flow together and it's easy to lose track of just what the hell is going on. Glad to see everybody already here. Ricky G Gaming already in the chat with the first comment of the day. Appreciate that. So, for those who may not be aware, Donald Trump gave an address to the nation last night that only lasted a very brief 18 minutes because apparently the man can't perform for longer than that these days. But it was absolutely horrendous. If Donald Trump was attempting to make Americans feel a little bit better about the crappy economy, he failed. He didn't just fail, he failed spectacularly. Most people, according to the responses on social media, were wondering why the president was sitting there screaming at everybody for 18 solid minutes. The speech was frantic. It was way more fast-paced than anything Donald Trump ever says. Was definitely looking like the man was on something. And of course, the irony there is that this is the administration, these people who make up this administration, that told us for 4 years that they used to, inject Biden with these cocktails of drugs to let him be able to give speeches. And then Donald Trump comes out sounding like the Micro Machines man from the 80s commercials because he can't shut up and won't stop screaming. So, yeah, who was the one hopped up on a cocktail of uppers last night, Donald? Certainly wasn't Biden, but it is what it is. Sorry, saw a funny comment come through that I do want to address. It says, am I allowed to call Trump a pig piece of on here? Absolutely. In fact, I encourage it. I hope you do. Now, I may not, read it on the air, trying to keep the cursing down to a minimum these days, but I think it's applicable and I think it's accurate. But here's the thing. Donald Trump lied to the country for 18 minutes. Screaming or not, frantic or not, none of that matters. What matters, of course, is the content of the speech, and it was nothing but lies. He told us to start with, 1 year ago, our country was dead. We were absolutely dead. Our country was ready to fail. Totally fail. Now, two things to take away from that statement. First of all, no, that's not what was happening at all. Second of all, boom, that's dementia, buddy. See how he repeated everything he said after he said it immediately? That's a symptom. That's one thing that I guarantee you everybody is going to overlook, except, of course, the mental health professionals. But that repetition immediately after saying something is a symptom. Now, does that mean he definitely has it? Obviously, I can't diagnose that, but we can see things. But anyway, he then continued and said, for the last 4 years, the United States was ruled by politicians who fought only for insiders, illegal aliens, career criminals, corporate lobbyists, prisoners, terrorists, and above all, foreign nations, which took advantage of us at levels never seen before. They flooded your cities and towns with illegal aliens. They decimated your hard-earned savings. They indoctrinated your children with hate for America. Really, they just released a level of violent felons that we had never seen to prey on the innocent. Hold the... What? Who released the violent felons, you psycho? Who's the one who gave more than 1,500 violent Capitol rioters pardons? Who's the guy that just released a drug kingpin? You. Everything this man does is pure projection. It is often infuriating to sit here and talk about the things that this man says. Not because it's so hard to debunk them, but because it's so easy and so obvious. Those of us that are not members of a cult understand that none of that happened under Biden, but it has all happened under Trump. And yet here he is in his frantic, short-lived address, blaming everything he did on the guy before him. This is just a new level of derangement that we've just never seen collectively in the United States. Trump derangement syndrome is real. Trump is suffering from it. His cult members are suffering from it. And they believe whatever he says without question, and he just makes things up with impunity. Like, I can just say whatever, and these absolute dumbasses are going to eat up every single freaking word of it, and they do. So he will continue. CNN actually did a pretty good fact check of it. Trump claimed that inflation has stopped. That's not true. It's actually 3%, which is exactly what it was when he took office. It's gone up a little. It's gone down a little. But right now we're back on an uptick. He said that inflation under Biden was the worst. That, of course, is not true. It was actually 2.9% December 2024. So didn't happen that way. He says grocery prices, everything else is falling rapidly, which is not true. Grocery prices are in fact up an average of 3%. Some items up, like meat, beef, I should say, as much as 36%, coffee 18%. So yeah, all of this just absolute lies. He says prescription drug prices have fallen this year by what was the percent? He said 600%. 600%. Kevin Hassett, director of the National Economic Council with the administration, admitted this week that it's down 0.6%. So it's not even down one full effing percent. And Trump, by his administration's own admission, and Trump goes on TV and says, no, it's down 600%. It's not even down one, dude. It's barely down 0.5%. And that tiny little percentage drop that we have seen is due to the policies put in place by President Biden that allowed for certain drug prices to be lowered for those receiving Medicaid and Medicare. So, super chat here. Thank you very much for that. Says, what's your stance on the Erica Kirk, Candace Owens feud? My stance on that is I don't give a fuck. I honestly could not care less. I do not spend my time talking about right-wing personalities. And that is not something I've even followed. So I don't care. What I do care about right now, of course, is the fact that we're living in a country with a president of the United States that is lying to us every day, contradicting his own administration, right? The people that are out there telling us like, yeah, okay, the jobs numbers are not what you wanted to see. Prescription drug prices aren't down as much as this guy sees. And the people are suffering, and they're going to continue to suffer because we got a guy sitting in the Oval Office that says none of that's real. How can we solve any problems when the guy that is supposed to be doing the solving says we're all making it up, that we've all fallen for this liberal hoax? The answer is we can't. So are we destined? Are we doomed to go through the next 3 years of just nonstop economic collapse? Economists are already saying recession is imminent. It's their words. Recession is imminent. We are on the cusp of it right now if we are not already in it. And there is no end in sight. The only end that is in sight, I should say, is the 2028 presidential election. But we've got American families out here that cannot survive another 3 years of this. They barely survived year one. If the Supreme Court does not come back and destroy Donald Trump's trade war, these price increases will continue. The trade war will continue. We will see the level of bankruptcies with America's farmers that will far surpass the 8.9% level of bankruptcies we saw during Donald Trump's first term. Things will continue to get worse, and Donald Trump will continue to go out there and tell us that everything is actually fine. You guys are just overreacting. Stop buying so many pencils. Now, there's a lot of theories, by the way, as to why Donald Trump decided to do this right now. The first, of course, according to reports that came out yesterday prior to the speech, is that he wanted to do it because his aides told him to do it, because he made such an ass of himself last week in Pennsylvania with that speech. Going back, of course, to the pencil and doll speech, you don't need 37, you need one or two. So this was a bit of damage control. I don't buy into that. I think if this were about damage control, he would have done more than 18 minutes. He would have done more than, basically just try to blame Biden for immigration. He would have focused on the economy. He didn't do that. So I don't think this was damage control on that issue. Some folks said it was to distract people from the horrible jobs report that came out the day before. That's also possible, but at the same time, he didn't deliver in a way that seems like it was going to distract from that. So I do think it's a distraction. I do think he was trying to do some damage control and get people to talking about other things, but I think it was about the Rob Reiner post. I think that's what sparked all of this. They needed a distraction from Reiner. They needed a distraction from the Vanity Fair piece. What better way than to give people 18 minutes of Donald Trump screaming lies? And now we know the media is going to talk about that for the rest of the week. These other two issues dead and gone by then. That's what this was. It wasn't because Donald Trump actually wanted people to feel good about the economy. It's because I need to give them something else to talk about so they stop talking about these two horrible things that happened Monday and Tuesday, respectively. So here's the crap. There you go. And that's what's happening, right? I mean, we're already seeing headlines about the 1776, the Warriors, whatever payment. I forget exactly what he called it. But yeah, if you're an active duty service member in the United States military, you get $1,776 before Christmas. So I'm sure his administration is like, holy crap, we got to write a bunch of checks right now. And that's going to cost the U.S. economy $2.5 billion. Or not the economy, the government. At a time when they tell us, oh, we're cutting wasteful spending, we're slashing and burning, and like, let's give these people $2.5 billion so that they continue to love and serve Donald Trump. That way, if he asks them to do something they may not want to do, we just gave you almost $2,000. You kind of have to follow our orders, even if they seem like they may be illegal. So sounds like he's trying to buy the loyalty of the military to me, not actually help these struggling families or help boost the economy. So, that's certainly one way to look at it here. But another far more interesting thing actually happened yesterday. I'll get to that in a minute, but let me go through some of these comments here because I do want to address some folks. Ricky G Gaming says, I heard that Trump is planning to allow KEI cars, I'm not sure what that is, to the U.S. KEI cars are great for small businesses and farmers than those folks buying $60,000 oversized trucks. I'll have to look into that. I'm not sure what those are. Ty Thompson says he doesn't know what to do about the Venezuela thing. Unlike Vlad is a better negotiator than he thought. Yeah, he doesn't know what to do about anything, to be honest. The super chat here from Michael Hausman, thank you very much, says that's great, $37 to $3, but there are people who can't afford $1 or gift for their kids. That is true, by the way. We have seen reports saying that a lot of people have announced that they are significantly cutting back on their holiday spending, which, as I talked about at the time, obviously the holidays are not about how much you spend. It's about spending time with those you care about and all that, blah, blah, blah. But it's also the season of giving. And it's a lot harder to give when you can't give because there's no money because everything is so damn expensive. So, we want to focus on the real meaning of this entire holiday season, regardless of what you celebrate. But at the same time, we want to make sure that our kids and loved ones have a good holiday by, doing good things for them. And you can't do good things if you don't have money. So, as I mentioned, another, and I think far more important thing happened yesterday. Former special prosecutor Jack Smith went to Congress because Jim Jordan, chairman of the House Judiciary Committee, was like, by golly, Trump wants us to go after Jack Smith. So Jack Smith, get your butt in here, testify, and, tell me Tell me all the dirty deeds you done did. And it didn't go well for Jim Jordan at all. The entire thing was basically Jack Smith laying out and spelling out in very clear phrases, I had Trump cold, and here's all the different crimes I was about to get Donald Trump convicted of. Jim Jordan was virtually left speechless. All the Democrats on the committee were super excited, loved every moment of it because Smith just laid it all bare. And of course, that's the reason none of this was televised. You see, Jack Smith, before he, came to Congress, had said, listen, I'll come and do this. I want this to be televised. I want this to be public. I want everybody to see what's happening. And Jim Jordan said, okay, I gotcha. I hear you. Nope. Closed door meeting. We don't want anybody to see this. They were going to do a second one. Okay. After this was supposed to be the first one, and then there was going to be a second one that focused on, the documents thing. They're not going to do that now. It went so badly for Jim Jordan and the Republicans yesterday behind closed doors that they're already like, you know what? We don't need you back in here, Jack. Appreciate your time, buddy. But, we're good. We're fine. Yeah, thank you. Sorry to bother you. Please go away and don't ever talk to the press about any of this. That's how poorly it went for them. And it's also a reminder of where Donald Trump would be today had it not been for last year's election. The trials would have been concluded. He would have been convicted. Probably wouldn't have gone to jail. Let's just be honest about that. Former president, billionaire, they don't go to jail. But it would have been over. Right? We wouldn't be dealing with the situations that we are dealing with now. We wouldn't be worried about the military invading Venezuela at any given moment. We wouldn't have a trade war with every nation on the planet, except for Russia, of course. And we wouldn't have lost 1.1 million jobs this year. Elon Musk never would have gone up on stage and done his weird arm thing. None of that would have happened. But it all did. So we don't get to talk about things that could have been, what should have been. We got to live in the reality in which we live, which of course is what separates us from Donald Trump. Can't focus on the shoulda, woulda, coulda. Got to live in this moment. Got to deal with the reality. And we are. But it is the Republicans who put this stuff back into the ether. I mean, if Jim Jordan had not given this subpoena to Jack Smith and said, get in here and come tell us all the dirty deeds, we wouldn't be talking about it, right? Everybody would have already moved on because we know those investigations and the potential prosecutions died a year ago. And then Jim Jordan, thinking he's smart, is like, let's make everybody remember this. Well, you did. So thank you for that, Jimmy boy. And that's where we got. He could be beside Maxwell at Club Fed at the least. Oh, Maxwell wouldn't be in Club Fed. Maxwell would still be in that maximum security prison over here in Florida. Forgot about that. It's amazing, though, when you just see little things like that, and it reminds you, hey, we got 1,776 people in the chat. Hey, that's actually funny. Sorry. All of these outrages that we have seen from this administration, and some just kind of get forgotten over time because there's just nonstop calamity, nonstop insanity. And yeah, the whole Maxwell thing being moved, just absolute mind-blowing levels of open corruption from this guy that it's almost impossible to keep track of them. Is there anything stopping Jack Smith from being invited on the news to discuss what he said to Congress? No, there's actually not. He can. He can go out. He can tell everybody whatever he wants to say. I don't know that he can necessarily publish it. I do think there are some pieces that he can, probably some pieces that he cannot. But yeah, he can go out there and talk about these things. Absolutely. And Democrats, of course, are trying to get the full transcripts released to the whole thing. I wouldn't be stunned if Trump pressured NFL to have games go the way he wants. Someone smarter than me should look into it. Yeah, I mean, Trump's big into NFL. Pretty sure he's got Commissioner Goodell wrapped around his finger, so that's definitely a thing. London into house. Good to see you. His handlers sped the prompter up so he wouldn't pause and weave. Oh, that's funny. I would like to think that there is somebody over there because I don't know if anybody's ever ran a teleprompter before. But they usually you do it from a computer and you're running it off a mouse, a little wheel, or you'll have a device specifically for a standalone teleprompter that is similar to this. But yeah, it is a little wheel on it. And you just scroll it and you can screw with somebody pretty bad. Or if in the olden days, they had the foot pedal, you would actually push it and it would start, push it again, it would stop. Those have kind of fallen out of favor because that's a little, cumbersome. But yeah, just a little insider secret from somebody that's been in the media business for over 20 years here. Good morning from Mexico City. Good morning, Mexico City. I don't know that we've seen a Mexico City in the chat before, so that's always fun. New places, new people. Greeting from Denmark. You are the man. Awesome content. Well, thank you very much. I do appreciate that as well. How did he get power of the purse? That's the fun part. He didn't, right? So these checks that he actually wants to send to the military, the $1,776, kind of can't without reallocating some money. So they're going to have to find it in any form of discretionary spending. And that's going to be the fun part, right? Because that's when we're going to get these stories of like, wait a minute, Trump actually diverted money from this very important thing to buy off all these people in the military. We're going to find that out. It'd probably be 2-3 weeks from now, but we will find that out because that's what he's going to have to do. Otherwise, those payments would, of course, be illegal because Congress did not approve them. I live by a border town. Seems cool for Mexican supporters here. Another one says Trump's approval rating will continue to go lower and lower. Yeah, there is no bottom for him. Until that number hits 0, it will continue to just get worse and worse until finally it does hit that absolute rock bottom center of the earth, cannot go any lower without going higher. But we are seeing that. Listen, I got to get out of here. I have a very important meeting I've got to go to. If you're not subscribed already, folks, please do so. Don't forget, every single morning, 9 a.m. Central Time, these live streams, big news of the day is what we discuss. I also love to go through the chat. Also, by the way, did not mean to come across as an a-hole about the question about Erica Kirk and Candace Owens. I was not mad at you about that. I hate that the media is focusing any attention on it. So my apologies if that came across as a personal attack on you. I did not mean that at all. Other than that, follow me across social media at Fair and Balanced. Whatever site it is, I'm at Fair and Balanced, so I don't even need to give you the list. Share the videos, folks. Share them, share them, share them. That is the most important thing you can do. Let's help spread the word. And of course, stay tuned for all the rest of the great content throughout the day. Thank you all so much. See you tomorrow.